Hi, this is Peter That's Clairvoyant here, and I'm doing your astrology reading here now for Gemini. So this is Gemini November 2019. So Gemini 2019. So I just feel as though you Geminis now. I just feel as though you're coming to a point now where I can see you sort of kind of focusing now. I feel as though sort of getting things a little bit more put into place for yourself. It's almost like I feel like I've got you feeling a bit frustrated. And I feel like for those of you born at the beginning of your star sign, or the first half, should I say, I just get the feeling you're feeling very wound up about different things, almost like very frustrated. It's almost like it just feels though you're not sort of connecting with people very easily. But don't worry, it will pass. I feel as though as you get halfway through this month, you'll start to feel like your energy levels are calming down. It's almost like you're just naturally being wound up with different things. So don't worry, it will be short-lived. And those at the sort of latter part, I just feel as though born at your star sign. I get the feeling, yeah, you're feeling a little bit tense, but you're also feeling very optimistic about things. So it's about sort of getting your thoughts in balance and in line with the universe and getting everything organized. So there's a lot of sorting out to do around you, Geminis, generally, sorting things out, getting yourself in balance and deciding where you're kind of heading. But it just feels though, but what you mustn't do is put too much pressure on yourself to get everything done, as otherwise you can find everything frustrating. And I can see you sort of thinking about long term with work, and I just feel as though you've got to decide where you're heading. And then I've just seen planes sort of flying over you a little bit. So I feel as though for some of you Geminis, there's more travel coming up around you. And for one or two of you, especially those that are born at the sort of end of your star sign, I just get the feeling for a few of you, you could be thinking about living abroad. Or there's going to be somebody that you're connecting with who's going to be thinking about living abroad. But there's definitely an overseas kind of element with you. And I do get the feeling as well, sort of as I'm being drawn to your home chart, I just get the feeling some of you may start thinking about a property overseas. And I feel that this could be an investment. But although that's very good, you've just got to make sure where you're putting that property. As otherwise, I feel as though you could be getting into either on the legal side into a load of trouble to do with legal stuff, or if it's on the financial side, I feel as though you could be chucking good money after bad. So I feel as though you've got to make sure this property is in the right place, where I feel as though it's going to be utilised in the right way, where I feel as though it's put in somewhere a bit unusual. I just get the feeling it's going to be a nightmare. And so just keep an eye on that a little bit. But either way, the overseas element's good, but it's just got to be in the right kind of place. And I'm not saying these things are going to be done straight away, or this month, or this year, or next year, but there's definitely going to be an element of where you're thinking about more to do with overseas. But I just feel as though you've got to make sure you're settled now and focused, because sometimes I feel as though your mind is wandering. It's like it feels as though you're not sure what you want, where you're going, and what you're looking for. So all these things now have got to be sorted out. But I feel like it's a good year, a good time now to be really thinking about things, putting things in place and having a long-term plan. And then as all that comes together, you'll start to feel quite settled. But like I say, in the beginning, there's just a lot of things going on around you. It might not be the right time to think about everything. You've got to focus on the most important things. But it is good to have your long-term plans. But do bear in mind, long-term plans don't always stick. Sometimes they've got to be adjusted. And don't worry if they don't quite turn out the way you want to. It just means you've just got to adjust them. And as long as you're naturally free-flowing with these plans, then I don't think you're going to go too far wrong. When it comes to relationships now, Gemini, I just get the feeling this is where I feel as though communication is the key. And I feel as though you've got to start sort of listening to the other person, what the other person wants, or the person that you're connecting with wants. Because I feel as though sometimes you can be a little bit set in your ways and you want things your way. And I feel as though that's going to be very interesting. So I feel as though you've got to learn to listen, you've got to learn to communicate. And as long as you're doing that, then you'll be absolutely fine. But you have got this stubborn streak with you. And it's part of your strength, it's part of your success in life. But when it comes to relationships, you're not sort of running a job, you're not running a career, you're not running a business. You're in balance with somebody. And if you're not in balance, it ain't going to work. So that's got to be toned down a little bit. You've got to be a little bit more forgiving or a little bit more giving. And, and as you get that balance right, then things can work and it can free flow. But I feel as if you're not, then I just feel as though it's just not going to be good. So you've just got to make sure now that you're listening and communicating in the right way. Now, overall, I feel as though as you start to move forward, I can see you making long-term plans of nature, and I feel as though that's going to be good. So do focus on where you're going long-term. But again, like I said in the beginning, long-term plans do get adjusted. It's like things happen, things change. Now, also, I seem to be drawn to children, and I feel so with children, those who have got children, I just feel so you've got to be a little bit more tolerant of their needs, their wants, their thoughts, their feelings. And those that haven't got children, there could be a surprise coming. In other words, there could be a baby coming to the mix. You may not have planned for this child, but I just get the feeling a surprise. But then there will be one or two of you that are going to be organised with your lives and you will plan for a child. But I just get this feeling of sort of those that haven't got children, there's either planning or a surprise. So just see where that kind of comes in for you. When it comes to family, I just get the feeling of you trying to negotiate. And it's a funny word, isn't it, negotiate? It's a bit like you're trying to get what you want. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing to do, but you've also got to not just negotiate everything. You're not in control. Family can be in control as well. And they've got their needs or their wants. So let's just say not negotiate. Let's say let's look for a bit of balance, a little bit of in between. And I feel so as long as they're getting what they want and you're getting what you want, then everything will be fine. But if you're in the mix of sort of trying to negotiate and take, it ain't going to work. It's all going to hand out sort of a bit negatively, especially when it comes to money. So you've got to sort of be a little bit in balance and be listening to what everybody else wants. Because if not, you could end up being worse off in the long run. So in other words, you might think, oh, you're playing games and you're getting what you want, but if it all goes pear-shaped and then you've got to go your own direction, you could end up paying out more in the long run just to try and pay out less in the beginning. So just watch that a little bit. Money needs to be balanced. Money is like a negative energy. And if we're not in balance with the fine tune of money, whether it's what we want or what other people need, it can all go sour and it can be detrimental to you. So just make sure you're in balance with finances. Money can be a dirty word, but it has to be, looked after. We have to watch what we're doing with money. And it's not just important to you, it's important to the people that you're connecting with as well. Okay. And I'm also being drawn to, for some of you who will perhaps sort of, because I'm tapping into work a little bit here, some of you who are in the work situation or looking at work, I feel as though, yes, things are looking good, things are looking optimistic, but you could find money fluctuating a little bit and work fluctuating. But don't worry, just ride the storm, because I feel as though next year is going to be a very difficult year for work. And I feel as though if you're working for companies that are not in a good position, do analyse what they're doing and what's going on around you. Don't just look at your job, and that will help you make decisions for you for the future. Those of you that are in business, Gemini, I just get the feeling things are okay, but I feel like you need to give business a bit more attention and a bit more forthright attention. And also, don't just think about today. You've got to think what's happening sort of in the coming year, because I feel as though money and business is going to be a little bit volatile next year. So in other words, feels that the world is changing and it's not good. So, but that's not just for you, Gemini. I feel as though it's going to be a lot of us, but I feel as though things will get affected. So keep an eye on what's going on with money, keep an eye on what's going on with business, and keep an eye on what's going on with work, Gemini. So I could get fluctuations with money, business, deals, contracts, all sorts of things going on. Okay, and with health, I'm being drawn to tiredness. I feel as though it's good to work hard, it's good to do more, it's good to cram in more, but you've got to get your sleep. If you don't get your sleep, you're going to be irritable, you're not going to be connecting with people, you're not going to get things done. So you need to make sure you get your sleep, as otherwise you're in trouble. So just make sure you get that organised. Okay, so other than that, I wish you well. I hope everything works out for you. Do tune back into your October's video, because we are in October now, and obviously do look at this, where this leads you for November. If you do want any private readings, I'm doing an offer for my YouTube fans. So I'm doing an untimed limit reading for £15, and I will do a discount code for the website, but give me time to get that discount code put on, and the discount code will be YouTube, all in one word. So I wish you well. Have a great month, and you know where I am if you need me. Thank you for listening.